Here we go. All right. Now we hot. All righty. Looks like I'm hot. All right. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we had some technical difficulties there for a second. But what's going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls all over the world? Y'all know what it is. It is Monday. We are in the midst of free agency. Not just free agency, but we are in the midst of the Olympics. And let me tell you, man, it looks it looks incredibly tricky. But what I do want to say, right? What I want to say is I'm looking at this team as a whole. And I think it's very much I think it's very much I feel like it's very much like what you see in a movie. What I mean when I say that is you see in the movies the star-studded cast. And there's some people in the movie that's just probably shouldn't be there, but they look good anyway. And I feel like with Team USA, there's some kinks that need to get worked out, right? And this team just literally got together like 2 weeks ago, right? So I expect them to be rusty. I expect them to be off kill. I expect that, right? I expect that to be the case. And that was very much the case tonight. So this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is exactly what I'm talking about when I talk about having a face of a face of USA basketball, like Carmelo Anthony, James, Kevin Durant, and Chris Paul. Like these guys were the face of USA basketball. I feel like we're moving toward that. I feel like we could move toward that in the future with Jason Tatum and Anthony Edwards, Jaylen Brown, and Tyrese Halliburton, and Bam. Like I feel like that could be, right? I feel like that could be the face of USA basketball moving forward for the next 8 years, where we could keep this crew together, we could keep this core together, right? If we could keep this core together, and things would look a lot more fluid, as opposed to throwing crews together and putting them out there after 2 weeks and expecting it to look sharp just off the strength that we're more talented than anybody else. Now, no doubt, Tyler. Remember this, right? If you don't remember nothing, remember this. If you put a crew together like Team USA, if you put a crew together and it doesn't work, it's not going to be because the talent isn't there. You need time to work out the kinks. And Team USA has done this for so long that it's become almost routine where you put crews together. James has been a part of Team USA since 2004. That's over 20 years, right? Kevin Durant's been a part of Team USA since 2012. That's been over 10 years, right? That's been over 10 years. And with that being said, this is Steph Curry's first time in the Olympics. The international rules are way different today for these guys than they were, than a lot of these guys are used to. And I want to preface, if you watch that Australian team, a lot of people look at what Team USA didn't do and look at how good that Australian team is. Number one, They run great action. I don't think they run good action. They run great action. A lot of misdirection, a lot of ball movement, a lot of people movement, a lot of dribble handoff, a lot of down screens. The only way that you can consistently guard this is you have to switch. And if you're going to switch, you have to talk. Team USA in the past has been used to just blowing teams out. Australia stuck to what they were doing, and it was working. But then Anthony Davis, who some will make an argument he's the best defender in the world, and he showed why he's in that conversation this afternoon. He showed that cleaning glass the way he did, protecting the rim the way he did, being the presence in the paint like he was. He showed that. But the reason why they got back in the game is because that consistent movement and consistently keeping Team USA off balance. I've said this to you guys in the past, and I stand on this. When the ball moving, that means people are moving. And when people are moving, that means the defense is off balance. If you can constantly get people moving, if you could constantly get the ball moving, which is, oh man, I'm watching this team and they got a dribble handoff right at the three-point line. That dribble handoff turns into a down screen on the strong side, by the way, where the ball is, turns into a down screen on the strong side, and then a back screen, a cross back screen. I'm thinking, if you're running this consistently, how the hell you stop that? The only difference tonight or this afternoon with that team was the fact that Team USA just had superior talent. Because when you look at what Australia has when they come off of certain guys that's on the crew, like you're replacing Anthony Edwards with Devin Booker, right? You're replacing LeBron James, or you're replacing Jason Tatum with Kevin Durant. You're replacing Anthony Davis with Bam. I mean, it's pretty difficult. It's pretty difficult to combat that when you don't have that kind of talent. You don't. So when I think about Team USA moving forward, if we could get commitments like that from Anthony Edwards, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Tyrese Halliburton, Bam, if we could get commitments from those guys for the next 8 years, this team will look so much better. It will look like it did in 2008. It will look like it did in 2012. It'll look like that. Because there will be much more continuity. Right? There will be much more continuity. These guys, you'll have a commitment from them. They'll be together. And they'll be able to let exactly, right? They'll be able to show you exactly what it looks like when we are together. 100% they are. So, Noman, is that your name? My name is not Grilltown, so don't talk to me like that. I don't know you. You don't know me. Do not talk to me like that. I don't know you. You don't know me. Like I was saying, I feel like you'll be able to see what it looks like, right? You'll be able to see what it looks like when you have a crew that's been together for a long time. Like this, I keep prefacing that Spanish team, and I'm going to keep talking about it. That Spanish team in 2008. I feel like even though they lost in the gold medal game, they are the model of what it looks like. Right? They are the model of what it looks like. And because they are the model of what it looks like, that's why they have been as good as they've been for such a long time. And I feel like even though America is still winning the gold medal, right? Even though America is still winning the gold medal, I feel like it would be much more convincing and it wouldn't look as helter-skelter and it wouldn't take as long to get it together if there was commitments from, at minimum, those 5 guys. At minimum. And who would be the face of USA basketball? Who at this point, because you figure Anthony Edwards is only 22 years old. And how many years could Anthony Edwards legit play for Team USA? I'm thinking at least 8. I'm thinking this Olympics. I'm thinking the Olympics in 2028, which is in Los Angeles, and the Olympics in 32. That's what I'm thinking. At minimum. I think he could be one of the faces of Team USA. How many more of these Olympics can I get out of Jason Tatum? Jason Tatum in 28, he'll be 30 years old. I can definitely get, and he's in his prime at 30 years old. Jaylen Brown, he's 31, he's in his prime. Bam, he'll be 30, he's in his prime. Tyrese Halliburton, I think he's 25, he'll be 29. I would love to have that core. I would love to have that core of guys for the next 4 to 8 years. If you could get that, man, like Jason Tatum's last Olympics would be 32. That's 8. He'd be 34 years old. Would he do it? Would he do it? If I could get him to commit to this one and the next one in 28, if I could get Bam to commit, Bam's already committed to this one. If I could get these guys to commit to the next one in 28, those 5 guys, right? If I could get those guys to cut it, if I could get those guys to commit, I think we'll be sitting pretty. You can say whatever you want about Jason Tatum, River, whatever your name is. You can say whatever you want. But I can tell you what you ain't going to say. You ain't going to say he ain't a champion. That's what you're not going to say. You can say whatever you want about him not being able to cut it. He got it done. He did everything that you didn't think he could do. He did it. He got it done. Everything that you didn't think he could do, it got done. Everything. Not some of it or most of it. Everything you thought he couldn't do, it got done. So miss me with that he doesn't cut it logic. It goes in one ear and out the other. Get out of here with that. I'm not listening to that. I'm not trying to hear that. Take that shit somewhere else. So I feel like Team USA, I feel like with Grant Hill at the helm, I feel like he's pointing them in the right direction. And I don't have a problem with Ant or Jason Tatum being the face of Team USA. Hey, LeBron's legacy, just so you know, he did win the Eastern Conference MVP. He did do that. So you can dead that logic. So we can kill it. He already did that. Check that box. I already did that. And it doesn't take away from the fact that I didn't do it this year. I still did it. So get that shit out of here. Take that somewhere else. I already did it. So I'm good. With that being said, if you can get these guys to be the face of Team USA, I think that you would get commitments from a lot more players. I honestly believe that. And I only saw I was working. I was on the panel, so I didn't really get to see much of the game. But I did get to see I did get to see some of it. And some of what I saw, right? Some of what I saw, I was impressed with Anthony Davis. Right? Some of what I saw, I was impressed with Anthony Davis. You only saying that LeBron legacy because he won the East Finals MVP and the Finals MVP. So you got to use that same logic with Cedric Maxwell. You got to use that same logic with Chauncey Billups. You got to use that same logic with, let's see, Andre Iguodala. You got to use that same logic with all of them dudes. You have to. Yes, you do. You got to use that same logic with Kevin Durant too. He better than Steph Curry, right? He better than Steph. Kevin Durant better than Steph Curry. Everybody who won Finals MVP, you got to use that same logic with Tony Parker. He better than Tim Duncan. You got to use that same logic with all of them dudes. You have to. If you're doing that, because that's all you're doing it off of. You're not doing it based on anything else. You're not doing it based on anything else. He doesn't see the same coverages that Jason Tatum does. He's not the playmaker that Jason Tatum is. He's not the distributor that Jason Tatum is. He's not the consistent scorer that Jason Tatum is. He isn't any of those things. None of them. Just on offense alone. He's not the glass cleaner that Jason Tatum is. But Jaylen Brown is a mother you know what. And I will never argue that. I think he's fantastic, 100%. But if you're doing that, that's a very slippery slope that you're sliding down. Very slippery. So if you're going to do that, then you better do the same thing with Chauncey Billups. You better do the same thing with Cedric Maxwell. He better than Bird. You better do the same thing with Andre Iguodala. He's better than Steph Curry. You better do the same thing with those guys. I'm not saying that you should. You better do the same thing with them. You have to. So anyway, with that being said, he'll never be a Hall of Famer. Sariva, you got to go. Goodbye. Now I'm done with you. Goodbye. That's some of the goofiest shit that I've ever heard. Get your ass out of here. Beat it. So I was asked about, from a talent standpoint, where does this team match up? Where does this team match up with the rest of Team USA's, like Team USA, the Dream Team, the Redeem Team? Like, where does this team match up with these teams from a talent standpoint? So if I go down the line and I think about the Dream Team in '92, well, I think it's a bit of an unfair comparison, because the Dream Team in '92, this is the first time the world had been exposed to that kind of talent. This is the first time that has happened. I mean, we're talking 30 years later. The world has now seen this kind of talent. Back then, they hadn't seen anything like that. And they were in awe. Like, you had guys at the free throw line, coming off the free throw line to shake guys' hands in the middle of the game because they were so wowed by these guys. They were so wowed by them. And that's not going on anymore, because a lot of these countries, they look at these guys like they're not necessarily superior. Like that Australian team, they were not in awe of Team USA at all. And I think that's largely due to some of those guys actually play in the NBA. So they've been on the team with them. So they know what it looks like. Right? So they know exactly what it looks like. And furthermore, the game is advanced. The game has gotten so much more crisp. The game has gotten crisper. The game has gotten more fluid. No, he's not from Congo. He's from Cameroon. Is Cameroon in the Congo? No, I don't think it's from the Congo. I don't think it's. I know in Africa, Cameroon and the Congo are two different. But anyway, what I'm saying is offenses have changed, defenses have changed, personnel has changed. That Australian team, their action, to be honest with you, I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised if I saw some of that action. Do not be surprised if you saw some of that action you saw with that Australian team today. Don't be surprised if you see some of that in the NBA this year. Next season, in the 24-25 season, do not be surprised if you see dribble handoffs, down screens on the strong side, cross screens on the block, within the action. Don't be surprised if you see stuff like that, because that stuff works. And the reason why that stuff works is off the strength that you keep the defense off balance for the majority of. I mean, they'll defend for a time, but to keep doing that and to keep giving different looks with that action, it's not the same action. You got curl action. Not only do you have curl action, you got cross screens. You got back screening. If you don't know how to cover that, not only if you don't know how to cover that, if you don't communicate, which is what happened with Team USA late in the game, which would explain why Australia got back in the game. Their transition defense was terrible. They didn't communicate. Anthony Davis was the one who was basically calling out, hey, weak side. He was the one rebounding. He was the one protecting the rim. And again, this is largely due to this team just getting together. That's the downside. This is largely due to this team just getting together. Did Australia put a formula together on how you could possibly beat them? Yeah. Don't get into a one-on-one with Team USA. Get some action. Get some action. Make these guys defend. And when you make these guys defend, you put them in real precarious situations. Because when you do that, right? When you do that, now what you're doing is these young guys, you're testing their IQ. Right? Melissa, when you talk about no defense and turnovers, the turnovers come from us not being familiar with each other. I don't really know where you want the ball. I don't know how you want the ball. That's why I'm such a big fan. And sure, I got some heat for this. I got some heat for this, Melissa, when I talked about how integral Russ was in Kevin Durant's development and how important that was for Russ's development as a lead guard, because he played the two coming out of college. He had to move over to the one. With him moving over to the one, I got to know where KD wants the ball at. As a scorer, I got to know where to put it. Is he better off the catch? Is he better off? Is he better straight off the catch? Is he better off the bounce? How does he want the ball when he's coming off screens? I got to know this stuff as a lead guard. And that comes from, I feel like that comes from playing with a guy. And there's going to be some growing pains. Same logic is going on with Team USA, where like this crew just got together like 2 weeks ago. Training camp, what's today? The 15th? If I'm not mistaken, training camp just opened up like July 3rd. Something like that. So we got a week. It's basically like training camp in the NBA. We got a week before our first exhibition. We got like 4 days before our first exhibition. And then we got another, and then we got another 3 or 4 days before we go and play friendlies. We're not going to look as sharp as opposed to if we had a month of training camp or we were together the entire summer. We don't have that. So you're going to have stuff like turnovers because we don't know each other's nuances. The defense is going to look whack. The reason why the defense looks whack because we don't communicate. And the reason why we don't communicate because we don't know each other. I don't know Tyrese Halliburton like that. Right? Anthony Edwards doesn't know Devin Booker like that. He doesn't know Jason Tatum like that. And there are some people who'll try to sell you, but this is ball. No, it's not that simple. No, it isn't. What I'm not going to do is I'm not going to overanalyze it. No, because on some level it is basketball. But when it's high level basketball, there's certain things that we got to get on the same page with quick. We don't have a lot of time, especially considering these teams, Australia, Spain, France, Germany, they've been together a long time. So they know each other. So we could find ourselves in a situation where because we're not talking on defense, and it's not that we're not talking on defense. Let me rephrase that. Because we're not familiar with each other, we're going to have some miscommunication on defense. And with us having this miscommunication on defense, that's going to cost us plays. And if these plays continue, Melissa, one of the things I found out playing basketball, the last thing, or one of the worst things that I've ever seen on a basketball court is being in a dogfight and not realizing that you're in a dogfight until it's too late. And when you have communication issues, when you have turnover issues, you can find yourself in a dogfight just like that. You can find yourself in a dogfight. What up, D? What's going on, brother? You can find yourself in a dogfight that quickly. So that's why I can't preface this enough that I would love to see a commitment from Anthony Edwards, Jason Tatum, Tyrese Halliburton, Jaylen Brown, Bam Adebayo. I would love to see a commitment from these guys where we can get it together, or we can have it where we've been together for a while, we're sharp. So come July 2028, we already sharp because we've been with each other. We know what this looks like. And we're more prepared as opposed to, we just got together 2 weeks ago. And what is it supposed to look like? Right? What is it supposed to look like? Just off the strength of us being a superior talent. Well, Argentina showed that despite you having superior talent, that doesn't matter. Argentina showed that. Puerto Rico showed in 2006, despite that you have superior talent, so what? A lot of those guys in 2008 on the Olympic team were holdovers from 2004. Carmelo was on the crew in 2004. James was on the crew in 2004. Wade was on the crew in 2004. I don't think Bosh was on the crew. I don't think Bosh was on the crew at that time. But I think that I think we can find ourselves in a rough situation if we don't develop some continuity. And the only way to develop continuity is to get commitments from these guys for the next 4 to 8 years, where we know this is our national team. This is what we're going to look like. This is what we're going to look like. And with us looking like this, we're going to be a lot better. A lot better. So I don't want to downplay the significance of what Anthony Davis looked like today. And I mean, there are people who can make a legit argument. I feel like I'm one of those people that can make a legit argument. Anthony Davis is the best defensive player on the planet. There's a legit argument that he is that. And Adrian, the reason why you didn't know that is because in Oklahoma City, Shea has the ball. That's why. That's actually who Josh Giddey is with the basketball. That's who he is. That's why I like this thing in Chicago. I like which way they're going. Right? I like which way they're going. That's exactly who he is. He's a playmaker. He's a distributor. But the difference is they already have a ball handler in Oklahoma City in SGA. So these two guys are kind of stepping on each other. With them stepping on each other, you don't get to see how good Josh Giddey actually is with the peel. See, this is another thing, right? This is another thing that you guys don't talk about nearly as much as you should, that the international game is much different than the American game. The rules are different. The style of play is different. That's why every guy that plays in the NBA can't play in the EuroLeague. And that's why every guy that plays in Europe can't play in the NBA. That doesn't mean Josh Giddey is whack. Sasha was the EuroLeague MVP. He couldn't get off the bench in Sacramento. They were wasting him up there. He goes back to the EuroLeague. I think he's going to play for Olympiacos, if I'm not mistaken. He's probably going to get right back to what he was doing. He's probably going to get right back to that. And rightfully so. Because the international game, there's way more ball movement. There's way more action. I feel like it's definitely more physical. There's things that they allow that they don't allow in the American game. I don't think the game is as fast. There's a lot more thinking going on in the international game than there is in the American game. And I want to put this on your mind, and it was pretty interesting that it was put on my mind today. So in AAU and in the EBYL, France put a team in the EBYL, and I think that they're doing it to check people's temperature. That could very well be going on, because if they end up doing well in this AAU, right? If they end up doing well in this AAU, don't be surprised if you see a German team in the AAUs. Don't be surprised if you see a Spanish team. Don't be surprised if you see that. And the next thing you know, what I'm telling you guys, what you saw with that Australian team, don't be surprised if that offense trickles down to the NBA. Spo is running something very similar to that. Very similar to that. Steve Kerr up in Golden State runs what Pop runs with a mixture of the triangle. That's very much like what you see with what's going on in Australia. Very much like what you see what's going on in Australia. So I'm pleased with the international game. And I feel like I'm not going to say with 100% certainty that the competition is catching up, but I feel like we need to get more commitments. We do. I feel like we need to get more commitments, more consistent commitments. Not just, okay, I'll play. Okay, I'll play this time. Okay, I'll play this time. Nah, I need you down with me. And I need you down with me, not right now, and I need you down with me moving forward. If I could get you down with me moving forward, I think we got something completely different. That's why that Spanish team, that's why that German team, that's why that Serbian team who beat France, who I got France in the gold medal game. I might be tripping, but after what I saw Serbia do to them, I didn't see much of the game, but I saw enough of it. Right? I saw enough of it that I might have to retract my statement on France. If they can avoid Serbia, because Joker, he did this to Wemby. Come on. And he did this to both Wemby and Rudy. He did that to both of them dudes. So I think France got a situation. I do. I 100 believe that they got a. I 100 believe that they got a. They definitely got a situation. So I know I got, like I said, I know I got France in the gold medal game. I know I do. 100% I do. And after what I saw with Serbia, I might have to retract that statement. I don't know.
What's up, Chill? Can you hear me?
What up?
What you got going on, man? That was a good game today, man.
Yeah, it was.
What you think? I ain't gonna lie to you, man. Enough is enough, man. AD got to start.
He started the first game, but it was him and Bam.
No, he didn't start the first game. Joel Embiid started. AD came off the bench.
I'm good on Joel Embiid. I'm straight.
Yeah, me too. That's what I'm saying.
To be honest with you, I don't even think he should be on the crew.
Yeah, he should not be playing. He looks too slow out there, man.
I don't even think he should be on the crew.
Yeah, that I believe Anthony Davis should start. I believe it's gonna get real tricky with KD come back too, man. Because me personally, I think and Jason Tatum have to start. In my humble opinion, I think they both have to start.
So I don't understand why Jason Tatum is coming off the bench. There's no reason why he should be coming off the bench. He definitely should start.
Yeah, I think him and Ant should be starting. Curry obviously is going to. LeBron, Curry, KD, I believe they're going to start regardless. But I don't know, man. Curry rotations, man, I don't know, man. I don't know, man. Like that lead, there's no way that game should have been that close, man. There's no way. They was up 20 and like, I don't know, man. And it's another thing I got a problem with Anthony Edwards, Chill. You know I'm the biggest Timberwolves fan on the planet, man. His off-ball defense.
Yeah. Yeah, he get the turn in his
I don't
head.
understand. I don't get that
Mhm.
about him. He can look like one of the best on ball defenders I ever seen in my life. And then he just looks lost on off ball. Like he just gets beat backdoor. Like he doesn't know how to rotate. I'm just like, man, like
Now remember who we talking about though, Tim. We talking about Australia. That offense is different. I feel like that's a different offense than a lot of the other offenses in the Olympics. And I do think that there's going to be some better offenses they're going to run up on. More ball movement. If their offense, Australia's offense wasn't predicated on just pick and roll. No, they had a whole lot of misdirection going on. And if you're not smart and you're not communicating, which guys like Anthony Edwards, this is why I think school is so important. Because you learn how to do stuff like jump to the ball, get through
yeah,
screens, how to chase on screens, how to help and stuff like that. Right? You learn how to do that sort of stuff. And if you're not, then you're gonna get exposed, which is what happened today. Now I know that the game, I feel like I feel like in the NBA it's the same way. It's a game of runs,
yeah,
right? It's gonna be that. But when you look at what Australia did offensively, all they did was just hang in there, keep running our stuff. They're gonna let us
yeah.
back in. Keep running our stuff. They're gonna let us back in, and they did
And
that.
you know what was so funny though, Chill? It was parts in the game like Josh Giddey was like he was abusing Ant, like straight up abuse going straight at him. I'm
Mhm.
like, what the hell is going on?
Mhm.
Like, man, Ant couldn't stand in front of him. He could not stand in front. People in the comment sections will tell you, Chip, they watched that game, and when they had Ant on Josh Giddey, couldn't do nothing with him. Couldn't do nothing with him. He was getting to the rim at will. I'm like, man, I'm
I'll
just
tell
like, I
you,
don't
man.
know, man.
Good to talk to you, Tim. You know where to find me, brother.
Yep.
What up?
Hey, what up, Chill? What up, Chill? Is my mic all right?
You good?
We good? I.
But
So
before we start this conversation, can I start the conversation by saying I think you got your lead guard.
I I hope so, Chill. But there are some.
I said that before. I'm saying that before the season started, and I'm saying that now. I feel like you have your lead guard. But go ahead.
So I see where you're going, and I can hear it. But I need to see it in an NBA court, and I need to see him work with the new shooting coach we got. Right.
Mhm.
Once I see that, if I see some improvements in the shooting, then we can have that conversation. Right. Because look,
What kind of shooter are you looking for though? That's my
just someone who you have to close out on.
so a
Right?
respectable guy.
Respectable guy.
Like he ain't the double team guy. You can't double off of him.
Absolutely. You just need him to
Okay.
make because we can't have a situation where like OKC had in the playoffs where Dallas was looking at Giddy and they said we're gonna dare you to shoot and we're not even gonna help on you.
Right.
Right? If he can just be a solid like a Drew Holiday level shooter. Drew Holiday
Sure.
is not an elite shooter, but he's a very good shooter. If he can get himself to even that level, then we are absolutely fine because chill. Some of the passes I saw today, I was shocked for the speed
First and
and
foremost,
decision making he
let's
had.
let's get to the bottom of one thing. First and foremost, Josh Giddey's 6'8".
Oh
There's
yeah,
nothing 6'4", 6'5" about him.
you
He's
see it.
6'8".
He's a
He's
problem. He's
six-
a mismatch.
he's a huge mismatch. But he was in a system in Oklahoma City where somebody already had the ball. I think he's a
Yeah.
lot better player than people realize. A lot better player than people realize. And I feel like in Chicago, he has to be turned loose. He has to be. He's only 21 years old.
This is a great opportunity to see what he has. Right
Yes.
now, on
Yes.
the point on just the whole game and what was going on, I think the big thing that a lot of American fans aren't really used to, compared like NBA compared to EuroLeague,
Yep.
is the amount of interior pressure a lot of these Euro teams put on the paint. Right, I believe Australia had like 68 of their points in the
In
paint.
the paint.
Right.
Yes.
The amount of time you have to dominate the interior to almost open the outside game is so important, Jill. We saw the Celtics really hone in on this, right? Only layups or threes, right?
Yep.
But you get the driving lanes, open it up, get the passing lanes, get the double screens, right? Dribble handoffs, everything opens up, right? It'll be really interesting to see how the US, look at that starting front court. Because if you want to get that goal, you have to figure out how to deal with the elite front courts in the EuroLeague, man.
Yes. And where do you
Because-
think that? And where do you think? I want you to keep going with this. And them getting downhill and them getting in the paint. Why do you think that they're able to do that?
I think it's the actions they run. I think it's the actions they run, right?
100% is the action they run.
I believe just running the double screen and then almost having the ball handler getting momentum, right, allows them to get into the driving lanes. And I also think it's the fundamental understanding of a lot of the players, right?
Mhm.
I think a lot of the NBA players, right, they're used to thinking quickly, right? They don't have the time to think whenever they're playing. So they're trying to make decisions quickly, like 2-3 seconds, right? Whereas
Right.
in the EuroLeague, there's some adaptation to that, right? Because you have a little bit more time, but sometimes too much time is almost bad for you, right? Because
Mhm.
now you're overthinking things, right? Now I think the US have enough talent to almost get used to that, right? They'll adapt quickly. But you saw today, Chill, so many terrible decisions, right? 15, 16 turnovers today, right?
Mhm.
Everyone just wasn't in sync today because everyone was trying to think quickly, get the pass, almost trying to think before they get the ball because that's what you got to do in the NBA, right? It's
Mhm.
so transition heavy, so speed orientated. So you can't do that in the EuroLeague where everything's more set. You're playing against half-court offenses, right? Half-court defenses. Things are slower. And I also think that a lot of the bigs that we have, apart from Joel Embiid, aren't very good when it comes to behind the basket or attacking the rim, right?
Mhm.
AD surprised me in that. Aggressive AD is a problem. If AD is that aggressive, then that's a different conversation. If we're getting the AD we've seen consistently in the Lakers, then I don't know because
We've
that's
seen him though, but we've seen him this aggressive, not just
but
inconsistent.
consistently though.
But yeah, we've seen him this. What about last season? Not this season that just passed. What about last year when they went to the West Finals? That last month of the season plus the playoffs. I mean, this is where, and this
I always
wasn't
thought he was
news. There was already conversation that he was the best defender in the world.
for sure.
You look at what was going on with the Lakers defensively. They were arguably the best defensive team in the playoffs. That was largely due to AD. People weren't happy with AD offensively. I am of the
thing.
belief.
Yeah.
I am of the belief that, and I think that there's a large number of people who can't come to their senses when it's obvious. Anthony Davis is a defender who can score. That's who he
There's
is
a difference,
more
Joe.
than you think. Those two
There's
things
a
are not the
difference.
same thing.
Absolutely. I think that's where I have the issue. It's like I look at AD and how dominant he is defensively, and I almost, because of that, the standards are so high on that side of the basketball that I almost think that, you know what, you should be able to do that on the offensive side as well. But I get it.
He's a
right?
damn good offensive player, though. Let's be.
Absolutely.
He's not an average. No, he's got a money mid range game. He's great in transition.
I
He's
think
damn
people
good
are
on the
still
box.
people love what they saw in the bubble, right? And they think
Mhm.
that is his offensive game, right? So then when you see him outside of the bubble, you're hoping, can he get back to that level? If he's at that level, he's one of the best players in the NBA.
I
But
felt
I
like he
don't
was
know if
doing
you'll
that
ever
with.
see.
I felt like he was doing that with Denver. To be honest with you, I felt like he was doing that against Denver. I felt like they went away from him though.
For sure.
I do.
And-
I felt
and
like he could have done that, but they just
The
kind of
one
went
thing
away
I
from
love though, if they figure out the front court, I think they'll be fine, right? Because so they're going to play Serbia next. Serbia is going to be an incredible matchup, right?
him.
I believe Jokic was at the game. He was watching the amount of pressure that I think it's Jock Landale, backup for the Rockets, right?
Yep.
The amount of pressure they were able to create for him, getting wide open dunks, almost find the actions for him, right?
Yep.
If that Serbia guard or whoever's playing right for Jokic, right, gets him in there, I love AD, right? But I'm sorry, I've seen what the Nuggets have done to the Lakers these past couple of years, man. They need to figure out a way to deal with Jokic, man.
Well, I'll tell you what they can't do. We can't leave AD on Joker one-on-one.
Yeah, it's mismatch.
And here's the thing that I want to preface this, and I got to let you go, Adrian. But the thing that I want to make sure I'm clear on, the same way that we talk about Anthony Davis not being left one-on-one with Joker, we did the same thing with Rudy Gobert, but everybody said Rudy Gobert couldn't defend. Meanwhile, Joker destroys AD, destroys him. So I think it's I think it's a little bit tricky, and I'm 100% confident that Joker is looking at that crew going, I got this dude. I got him under wraps. So if I think we're in trouble against this Serbian team.
It'll
Good
be
to talk
fun
to you,
to watch,
Adrian.
man, for sure.
Absolutely. What up?
Yeah, you're right about that, Chill. We definitely in trouble.
We're in trouble
The
against
fact
them
that
dudes, though.
Jokic was out there scouting, and he saw. I'm sure the same thing you saw, and the same thing I saw. That paint is going to be a problem, and that game upcoming against them,
I think
that's
it's
where
Wednesday.
Joel Embiid is going to earn his spot because he's the only one that can slow Yoke down. I love AD, I love Bam, but they ain't got the bricks in the back pocket to handle that heavy load. Pause. And
I'm just looking. I'm looking at Joker, and Joker is. I'm sure he's telling his crew, I can handle him.
oh, absolutely,
I can handle him.
absolutely.
I'm sure he looking at his crew, telling his crew, that dude right there, the light skinned dude, Davis, I can handle him. The dude on the block, Bam, I can handle him. So the game plan has to be what it was against Minnesota. We got to keep throwing big bodies at him. We have to. We got to keep throwing bodies at him like Minnesota did when they threw Ken at him, when they threw Rudy at him, when they threw Nas Reed at him. We got to keep throwing big bodies at him and keep leaning on him to wear him down. Because if it's just him and Anthony Davis, we got no chance.
Oh no, not at all.
We got no chance.
I will say this: the two things I took away from watching that game earlier. One, if this is the AD that we get from this point onward in his career, he has an excellent chance of being an MVP next year. Because that what he play like 18 minutes?
That's it. 18, 17 and 14 and 18 minutes.
Golly, that boy was cooking off the bench.
Yeah.
That's going to be insane.
It's hard though, Minor, and I won't argue that, but I'm a little bit different. But I understand that it's hard to get up to play Washington and to play Toronto. And you're a pro.
In Charlotte, yeah.
You're a pro though. This is what the pros do. But it's difficult to get up for Portland. It is. Even though they got DeAndre Ayton, you should be licking your chops like I'm gonna bust his ass. Right? You should be licking your chops going up against these dudes. But with that being said, the consistency on defense has always been there. It's always been there. The inconsistency has been on offense. And when because I've actually come to accept it now. When you accept who Anthony Davis is, which is a defender who can score. He's not a scorer who can defend. No, he's not. He's a defender who can score. He came into the league like that. That's what he came into the league as a defender who can score. If you remember him in the national championship game when they played Kansas, I think he made one shot. That was it.
I got the defense, y'all. Y'all scored the points. I got the defense. And he did.
He said that to Coach Cal. They came in the locker room at halftime. He said, Coach Cal said they came in the locker room at halftime. Coach Cal was about to go over the game plan. Anthony Davis said, this is what we're doing. I will get all the rebounds. I'll block all the shots. Y'all do score all the points. Coach Cal was like, okay, that's what we're doing. And that's what they did.
Bingo. You know, the other thing I took away from that game, Chill, was as offensively talented as Ant is and athletically talented as Ant is, his defensive, I want to say, concentration is not at the same level as those other two.
You can say it. You can say it. You can say it, Minor. He don't know how to play defense. It's okay.
I didn't want to say. It's hard.
Okay,
it's hard to say he can't play defense.
So fine. So I'll say it. At 22 years old, Anthony Edwards doesn't know how to consistently play defense.
Yes, I think a lot of his defensive prowess comes from his athletic ability. And once this is the time when he needs to be sitting down with Drew Holiday, with Anthony Davis, with Bam, and really start picking their minds defensively.
Let me talk
because
to that,
because once he does that, chill, man, the sky's the limit for that young brother. The sky's the limit. He gonna shoot off like a rocket.
How do you stay locked in? If I'm sitting next to Drew Holiday, how do you stay locked in off the ball, Drew? Like what is your focus when you off the basketball? What are you looking for? How do you stay engaged when the ball isn't in front of you? Stuff like that, because we have to remember we saw a great playoff run, so we automatically want this dude to be fantastic. I don't know if you remember this, Minor. He's a 22-year-old kid.
You know, I have to constantly remind myself that he's 22.
He's a kid.
He's a kid. He just got good at drink. Got able to drink. I
literally just got able to drink last year. Literally.
He's a kid.
22-year-old kid. So
but chill, if he does that, if he does what a lot of people do, which is take full advantage of the surroundings of the other players, pick their brains, learn their habits, pick up things similar to what D Wade and LeBron and all of them did when they played with Kobe and the Redeem team. If he does that, if he soaks that up, the league is going to be in trouble.
Drew Holiday would have to get me off of him, because I'd be around, anywhere he at, I'd be right there. Wherever he eating lunch, I'm eating lunch right there.
Oh yeah, me and Drew buddies.
I'd be attached to his hip. Wherever Drew at, that's where I am. Whenever we're on the floor and whenever I'm watching him play defense, he's gonna explain to me what he was doing. Everything. I'm right next to him. Because when I walk away from this, right? When I walk away from this, you better believe that when I go back to my team, I know for a fact I'm not gonna play with a guy who's a better defender on the perimeter than that. I'm not. So the stuff that he taught me, I ain't gonna learn that nowhere else. So now I got Rudy. I still got Mike Conley, who still got he's still got some juice left in the tank. I still got him. I'm so much better, because remember, Minor, James had all the goods. It took 2007 Bryant to show him what the work looked like.
Bingo.
The goods was already there. Okay, okay, I thought I was working, but this is what the work looks like. Okay, I ain't doing nothing. It's like what I equated to, Minor. I remember hearing Big Daddy Kane say he was writing rhymes, and then he heard Grandmaster Cash for the first time. He said he took all his rhymes and threw them in the garbage. Like, nope. I thought I was nice. No, this is what it looked like. This is what it looks like. So, if you want a crew like that, you have to soak that up. I can't agree with that more, no doubt. So, good to talk to you, Minor. You know where to find me.
Always.
Yep. I just look at guys like Anthony Edwards, and I think to myself, he's a kid who got busy in the playoffs, and he's on an ascension to the point where we don't know who he is yet. We have no idea who this kid is. But what we do know is he's supremely athletic, he's supremely talented, and he's got something that a lot of others don't have, and that's youth. He's a kid. He is a 22-year-old kid who thinks that he knows, but he doesn't. I always equate this kind of stuff to, like I talked about with Spain, right? Like I talked about with Spain, I do the same thing in 2007 with James getting with Bryant. Like I just talked about with Minor. I do the same thing. I got all the tools. Athletically, my ball handling is sharp. I got to tighten up my jump shot. Defensively, I can stand to get better because I'm only 22 years old. All of this stuff, I can get better at it. That's what the work looks like. I don't have that. Okay, that's what I have to get. And once he saw that, completely different guy. Way different. It's not a coincidence that after the 08 Olympics, I mean, he ends up winning league MVP 4 times in 5 years. That now he's an elite defender. That's not a coincidence that happened. It's not. So with that being said, right? With that being said, this team guys like Anthony Edwards, there's no way that you can't. I know that you're a competitor. I won't argue that. I can't argue that. I know that you're a competitor, but with being a competitor, I still have to learn from the other guys that I'm working with. It's not just me against you. No, I'm gonna get with this. I'm gonna get with Jrue Holiday. If I'm a lead guard, I'm a young guard. If I'm Tyrese Halliburton, I'm getting with James. I want to know how he sees the floor. What is he looking at when? How does he process plays? How can I learn how to do that? How can I enhance my game? If I'm Bam, or if I'm any of Anthony Edwards, any of these young guys, how can I process? Excuse me. How can I get better at what I do? I got to pick these guys' brain. I have to. Otherwise, what am I doing here? There's no reason for me to be here whatsoever. So you have to learn from the guys who are before you. Again, I understand that this thing is a competition. I get that. So going against Jrue Holiday every day in practice, right? Going against Bam Adebayo, going against Joel Embiid every day in practice, right? Going against Jrue Holiday if you Tyrese Halliburton. If you don't ask questions, if you don't pick these guys' brain, that's a you issue, man. That's your fault. I understand that you look at these guys, if you're at that level, as peers. Sure. But there's stuff that they do that you have to say to yourself, I need to learn how to do that. I do need to learn how to do that. And who better to teach me than somebody that's already here doing it? Who better to teach me? Right here, right now. And with that, I have to say, Anthony Edwards would be so much better if he put that in his if he adopted that philosophy. Yo, I'm gonna get with Jrue Holiday. I'm checking his temperature. I'm gonna find out how he sees the game. If I'm Tyrese Halliburton, I'm gonna talk to James. I need to know as a lead guard, I'm a primary ball handler. I need to know how you process plays. I need to know that. What's up, Matt? Just here to say I found you on TikTok during the NBA season, and I'm thankful for your content. Absolutely, Matt. No doubt, my man. I need to understand how you do this sort of stuff so I could get better at it. Because I'm not going to get better at it just doing it. How much better can I be at it if I get around you? And I get around you. So ultimately, who is the face of Team USA? I think it could be Anthony Edwards. I think it could be Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Bam Adebayo. I think that these guys are the foundation of Team USA. Jason Tatum, Anthony Edwards, Jaylen Brown, Tyrese Halliburton, Bam. I think these guys could be the foundation of Team USA. I think Jason Tatum could be the face of Team USA. I think Anthony Edwards could be the face of Team USA. 100% I believe that. No doubt. In my mind. And if that's true, I think the future is bright for Team USA. I do dig it. Yes. I 100% dig it. And rightfully so. Rightfully so. So, this was good. This was real good, man. I enjoy what I'm seeing from Team USA. I just have to nitpick just slightly on some small stuff, but ultimately, I like what I'm seeing from these guys, yo. I do. I like what I'm seeing from these guys. And I think we're moving forward. I do have a super chat. And my super chat is from Brian Pumper. He says, chill, we better not hope these three bigs step up their rim protection. We better hope these three bigs step up their rim protection. The rim run on all three guys was a sad look. You would think that as athletic as they are, that would be the case, right? You would think that. Nah. Especially with a passer like Halliburton, especially with a passer like James. You would think that was the case, but it's not. Not at all. And that has to improve, no doubt about that. But it's about that time, guys. It was good to see you guys tonight. You know where to find me. If I'm not here, I'm on the panel, 11 to 2, weekdays. If I'm not there, Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. I'm Good Morning NBA on TikTok. On Tuesday nights, I'm right here on Chilltown Hoops with my man Tony Tone, Fluent and Chill. And I do this Monday nights, sometimes Wednesday, sometimes Thursday. Just hit that subscribe button and you will be notified when I'm here. So I'm not hard to find. I will see you guys soon, but until then, put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother. When last time you talked to your mother? Call your mother. It was good to see you guys tonight, man. Absolutely. I'll talk to you soon. But until then, take it light. Take it.